Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. Today I'm taking a look at another Transformers Masterpiece Beast Wars figure. Today we have MP-34 Cheetor, and he looks awesome. I think in Japan, the Takara called him Cheetus. I guess that's just what his name was in the Japanese cartoon. But this is Beast Wars Cheetor from Season 1, and he looks marvelous yet again. I'm just super happy. This is another toy. I didn't have as many Beast Wars toys. I loved the cartoon, but I didn't get to the opportunity to buy a ton of toys myself when I was a kid. So this is another one of those toys where my friends had it, and it looked awesome. It was more of a tiger with Cheeto spots on it at the time, but I was super jealous of them. And now I've got one that looks like he came out of the cartoon, and I could not be happier. Yeah, this is Cheetor, and he looks great. Let's get up and close on that head sculpt. It's not a super realistic cheetah, but it is the cheetah that was in the cartoon, which I'm super happy about that. The proportions are amazing. Look at this. So lithe, so sleek. He's got that kind of like cat curve to his spine. Really long limbs. Very much miles different from that original Beast Wars toy. Just looks spectacular. Of course, like every Beast Wars toy, the designers at Takara and Hasbro cannot break the laws of physics, so there's some compromises that have to be made. We get some robot bits here and here. You can try and cover it up a little bit better with how you turn his back, and it helps a little bit. We get, obviously, robot bits back here. You're going to have those thin cheetah limbs, and you've got thin robot limbs, and it's going to be tough to disguise one inside the other. And then there's, some hollow bits up front, and here's his gut gun, which is actually, super cool that they included that feature from the original toy. But yeah, this is Cheetor, and as a cat, he's pretty poseable already. Shoulders can move up and down due to transformation. You get inside the shoulder joint this in and out waggle, in addition to some interior shoulder articulation. You get elbow action, both in rotation and in how you lengthen him out. So if you want him, running all out, you can absolutely have him in that sprinting pose. You get ankle tilt to get him, if you want him making like kind of a tough turn. You can absolutely do that kind of turning action. The ankles go up and down in addition to rotating. His head spins, rotates, can tilt up and down, just a little bit of waggle, and his mouth can open. And then in addition, due to transformation again, you can kind of compress his abdomen in whatever way you'd like. His back legs are also very poseable. They can go out. The knees can bend. If you get too much, you kind of start bringing up that sculpt a little bit and unhiding some of the robot bits. The bottom of his feet can move, as well as his little back ankles can tilt. And then you've got some bending and articulation in his tail as well. So all around, great looking cheetah. Let's get really, really close if we can. Look at that, the resolution on his spots. It doesn't, objectively, it's like, oh, that's weird that it's kind of that fuzzy pattern. But then you go back and look at his animation. They chose to not get the resolution on the spots as high as they could to mimic the animation model, which is insane and awesome and lovely. So yeah, Cheetor is terrific. I know previously I compared Optimus Primal to the Generations toys. I don't really feel the need to do that with the other Generations Beast Wars figures I have. Instead, the only one I'm going to compare Cheetor to is, I forget if he's Classics or maybe it's Universe Cheetor. But here is the latest Cheetor mold we got before the Masterpiece figure. And at the time when this came out, people were like, oh, Beast Wars is probably never going to get Masterpiece because look how good the Generations line looks. And it still looks good. It's still a good-looking cheetah. We'll see how he looks in robot mode. But you can see aesthetically they went for a different choice here. They went more realistic cheetah in the face and in the spotting and the fur instead of we want to get it accurate to the cartoon. So, $15, $60, $75, somewhere in that range. I think I got mine for 70 shipped. That's a world of difference. I think everything can be justified in getting a Masterpiece figure eventually, just because it's a newer brand rather than, you know, original G1 and those old bricks. I don't think that should preclude it from getting a Masterpiece toy. But yeah, Cheetor just looks terrific. And comparing him to the other Maximal Beast Wars figures we've opened so far, we've got Cheetor and Optimus Primal, and they look terrific together too. I mean, again, looks like they're just hanging out on the TV show. I really, really love that. They look great. That's almost it for his cat mode. The only other thing we can show off is going to be some head swaps. So he's got these whiskers here. This whole head we can remove from its neck assembly. There's a little peg right there that we can just take off. It slides in right back there. And he comes with 3 different cheetah heads. All of them are articulating. You know, they all can move up and down. And we basically have a couple different eyes. We've got like this squinty face right here, if he's a little annoyed, compared to his kind of default face. And then we've got his surprised face. And the interesting thing you'll notice, okay, these eyes are staring ahead. These eyes are turning to the right. And then these eyes are looking to the left. So you'd be wondering, can I move the eyes? You can't move the eyes, but you can swap them. So if you come into the back here, you can absolutely pull out his eye sockets, and look at how terrifying that is. That's just a simple pull out. And then swap them. Let's say we want his squinty eyes looking ahead of him. We pull that guy out. Swap them, no problem. And now we've got his squinty eyes staring straight ahead. We can slide that on him, and now, you know, now he can be a suspicious cheetah, which I think is really cool. I appreciate how simple that feature is. How simple that feature is to do. I like that. Okay, so if we get these heads out of the way, we can start on that Masterpiece transformation, which I've come to really appreciate on these guys. So with Cheetor, the first 2 things I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this gun from his belly. And for this, it's a peg that is in a hole down here, and then it locks under the abdomen. Excuse me. Pulls out just like that. Set that to the side. And then the only other bit of parts forming he has, obviously because his robot mode doesn't have a tail or anything, we gotta take this back piece off. And it's pegged in on the sides here. We rotate these up out of the way. And then we can pull this off its mounting. And it's again pegged in right down here. Get this piece off and out of the way. Now we can come in and start on his legs. The leg transformation is pretty simple. We're going to first extend his legs all the way down. Then we're going to come in and move his robot foot toe down and out of the way on each part of his legs. And then we're going to come in and on his upper shin, he's got kind of this spine. We're going to pull this up to give him kind of the knee pad guards of the top of his shin. Make sure his toe is nice and straight. And with this up and out of the way, we can close, rotate his ankle down so it locks right there. This should be a smooth feature. And then we can close in on his shin. Same thing on the other side. Rotate this down, close that feature. We can flip out his heels right here and right here. Come in the back, compress his cheetah paws into the back of his shins. And now we've got some pretty solid looking robot legs. And obviously he's not going to be able to balance until we get his upper torso done, but that part's done. Then we can come in on his cheetah back and pull out and flip down his robot crotch plate. and it sits on two bars that slide. We can just compress those and get that all nice and neat looking right there, and we can reveal the faux cheetah head. Obviously they can't get this shape to mold into this shape. They got to use a fake cheetah head. You know, that's just one of those things you got to do when you're dealing with the Beast Wars style transformations that may have cheated just a bit on the CGI models. Now we're going to come up top, and I'm going to first open up his shoulders on his cheetah shoulders, just getting those out of the way for now. Then his back, you can see it kind of has this section that sits on his back. That's his robot arms. We're going to come up top, and we're going to pull at, we can get his head off and out of the way for now. Pull this back section down and out of the way, and then split it like so, getting his arms out of his chest cavity, just like that. Now, something, we can put that back on for now. Something I've noticed in my transformation, if you look at his shoulders in mid-transformation, there's a clip that kind of clips down and into the shoulder to close it and create a full ball socket joint. For whatever reason, my right shoulder on his, this right shoulder, doesn't unclip. It just stays the way it is. This one unclips and it sits a little nicer in cheetah mode, all folded up and unclipped. But as you can see, even though this doesn't unclip, it has an effect on my ability to get him into that cheetah mode. Next on his arms, we can move these panels down, get them on his forearms and out of the way, so his hands can open up. Same thing on the other side. He's got those skinny robot arms, get those out of the way. Then we can come in and close that shoulder piece, like I mentioned previously, and get those shoulders out of the way. Then we can come in on his head. His cheetah head sits on a swivel joint. We can tilt it up out of the way, move his head up out of the way, swivel the assembly around 180, and then collapse it back into his chest. It also has two hinges, so we can really collapse it down tight into his chest. And now that we have it in that position, we can fold his chest down, and it compresses very nicely where we want it to go. And this tab on the front of his blue chest piece goes into a slot behind his cheetah head. So we can push that down and get it to slot in oh so nice. Oh. And it kind of, you want to keep pushing this down so it sits flatter. And there you can kind of see how his robot mode looks. The last thing we got to do is just clean up his arms, or not his arms, his cheetah front legs. So we come in on the back here, kind of turn things around so I can see a little better. There is a tab right here. There is a slot on inside his cheetah shoulder right here. We can just connect those two, and it locks in nicely on both sides. Kind of get his leg out of the way for now. Same thing on the other side. Get that tab into that slot. There we go. Then on his cheetah legs, they kind of just cross behind him. One of his legs has a peg right here, and the other of his legs has a port on this side right here. So we're just going to get those crossed and lined up. So we can cross them into one another. And that sits on his back. I mean, again, that part is unavoidable unless you made the legs part for him to get him off the cheetah mode. Otherwise, you know, this is about as accurate as you can expect to get. And we have quite a good looking... Oop. Oh, I didn't get his feet quite as flat as I wanted. I'm actually having a little bit of problem getting him to... Oh, that's why. You know what? His knee joint slides forward. That's my bad. I forgot that step. I was wondering why he wasn't standing. So once you get his knees forward, then his center of gravity moves forward and he can stand forward a little bit better. And there is Cheetor in his robot mode. Now that we have Cheetor in his robot mode, we just need to get his weapons transformed. So we're going to start out with that gut gun we had earlier. It's right here. It's pretty simple to transform. There's 2 hinges on the gun. First, you're going to flip out the gut piece, which comes out like so. Get that open. That lets you get to the barrel. Open that barrel and straighten it out. And then there's this blue piece down in here. We're just going to use our thumbnail to press down into it, get us some grip on the other side, flip that down, collapse the gun, and there is one gut gun. We can put that into his hand. It tabs in nice and securely. Then we can take his tail gun, and this guy these pieces fold around and collapse, just getting out of the way. We have a barrel again right here that we can fold out, swivel it 180, so there it is. Fold that down, and then we have a hinge right here that we can press in, get some grip again on the fingernail. A little tough for me and my fingernails. There we go. Get that down, and now we've got that gun piece, and the tail can just flip down underneath. We can get it in his hand. Maybe it's better to show from this side. Put the actual handle in his hand, and then collapse the tail around it to kind of lock things up. And the tail can peg in. There's a slot on the tail that connects to a peg on the gun. And now we've got Cheetor all armored up and ready for action. And to give him a quick comparison, here he is with Masterpiece Optimus Primal. And again, they look awesome together. I love the details. I love their weapons. That just looks fantastic. I'm super happy with that. And if anyone was curious how the Masterpiece shapes up to the older Generations figure, here is, that Generations figure. It's definitely aged a little harshly. I still have a lot of love for this, especially for the alt mode, the realistic Cheetah alt mode. But in robot mode, this is just this, spend your money here. This is what you get. Cheetor looks so fantastic. I'm super, super happy with him. And yeah, as a robot, he looks super awesome. Again, he looks like he walked off the set, or not the set, but walked out of the TV show. His weapons have storage. We can take his hands come out. I think they're designed to. I didn't see any replacement posable hands, but they slot in super easy. I could see a third-party company making alternate, more extreme, dynamic posing hands for him at some point. This gun piece, there's a cross-section slot back here. We can slide that in, and it stores right there. Then this gun piece, if we unpeg it and slide it out from his hand, this guy can store right... let me remember. I think we got to get his arms moved out of the way, but there's a peg down here. Oop. There's a peg down here and a slot right here that if we turn and get the barrel out of the way again, we can get that pegged in right there for weapon storage. It does kind of give him his cattail again, which is interesting. But yeah, there is Cheetor with his weapons stored on him. And again, looking at this guy, I think just in terms of what you get, maybe this is a small step down from Optimus Primal. You're paying less for him, sure. And there's a little more they had to do. They had to figure out something to do with his cat arms, which is tough. They couldn't make them physically shrink like they do on the TV show. Um, his legs, I really, really like. I mean, I think he's super dynamic in his posability, especially because of how lithe he is. That kind of sleekness to his robot mode looks awesome, and his posability in general. If we get his weapons out of the way. So in terms of his posability, we've got a great head that can look, you know, if you want him like doing some jetpack stuff, we can get him looking way, way up, no problem. He can kind of look down into his chest, no problem. He's got good swivel, so great posability in that neck. No tilt, but that's okay. He's got supreme posability in his shoulder, especially some of it. You know, you can break the sculpt a bit and get some more extreme poses out of that shoulder if you need to. He's got a double jointed elbow that works terrific. He's got a good bicep swivel. You saw how his hand is pegged in there. He's got good hand swivel. The fingers articulate. The legs, he can kick absolutely no problem up in the air. He can go behind him, just got to get his legs out of the way. That's not a problem either. His knees bend up until he hits sculpt. His thighs swivel. His legs Van Dam. And his ankles, this was interesting to me. I was wondering how they do ankle tilts with his transformation. It's more of his toe, but his toe can still bend and get out of the way. And then, you know, you can get toe curl however you want along with the heel to get some more dynamic leg posability. But yeah, Cheetor, he's a little, maybe a little, not flimsier, but a little more care needs to go into playing with him. But I'm still super, super happy with what they were able to do with this guy, especially considering the challenges they had to do with sticking to the original animation model. He's just awesome. He's just, I mean, he makes me super, super happy. That just makes me really happy. I think that's about it. Oh, actually, no, I forgot. Just like his cat mode has face swaps, so does his robot mode. We get that neutral face at first. We have kind of a happier, smiling face. And we've got like a surprised face. And those, again, are super easy. I sometimes swap his face out by accident. You just pull up on his horns, get that face out of the way. We get to see that nice light piping. And you can plug in a new face just like that. And yeah, that is Cheetor. And he truly is a masterpiece. This just is such a step up. So animation accurate. So cool. Such a just... I love the posability you get in alt mode. Compared to, you know, Optimus Primal had some limits in his gorilla mode. Whereas this cheetah, it almost seems like the cheetah is equally part of the show. Oh, I forgot to mention his waist swivel. To the robot mode, there's certain things in his robot mode that they had to compromise on, namely these legs back here. But that's just a, you know, the world has to follow physics, and there was nothing they can do without parts forming. Super happy with Cheetor. Easy, easy recommendation. And that's it for this video. Next week will be Dinobot. If you're watching this right now, I'm at Origin, so wish me luck. You know, hopefully I'm doing well and having a good time. And then next week will be Dinobot. So catch you all there. Have a great one.